as a nation as a whole, right, in the 80s and 90s, what did they push us towards? Well, they push us towards technology, which is great, and that's where we're at, the information age, right? And they pushed everybody to look down upon dirty jobs, right? Like the shows, right? Unclogging toilets, doing what we do, getting in, digging ditches. That was looked down upon. We need to reverse that role. As an industry, we need to let everybody know that, hey, this, yeah, okay, it's a dirty job, but there's the few and the proud that are doing this, right? Kind of like the way we are in the Marine Corps, the few, the proud. There's only certain ones that are getting in there and wanting to do these type of things, but we have to really look at the marketing standpoint of it and shift and do opposite of what they did back in the 90s. Because I remember when I went into high school, I signed up for shop, for mechanics. I wanted to learn how to work on cars. Showed up, the budget was cut, we had no teacher. Why? Because they wanted to focus us getting more computer skills. I totally understand the method and why they did it, and then they also pushed us to go to college, which I have another thought as to some of those things. But we've got to reverse that and really start to shift again, going to those platforms where they're living, really, in a sense, romanticizing what's out there, the benefits that coming with this as a career, right? Is, I think, I can't remember what article I was reading or where I had heard it from, but the next millionaires are going to be those that are in the trades. It's that the serving mentality. Those that joined to serve, that's what we did. It's a greater purpose in joining and being a part of something that's greater than ourselves. The challenges, the different things that you go through, and at a young age, it's instilled in you. It's literally ingrained in you, and it just becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of everything that you're a part of. Even my family, my kids. During that time frame, my wife, we had 3 children while I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years. She became a part of that. It was just something about it, that you just became a part of something that was greater than yourself, but even your family does. So the support that I get from my family as well, the wife that I've had, for 21 years, she's just always been there and supporting. And I think it's even related over into multifamily because you're constantly on the go, you're on a standby, on call. And so I've always been blessed where she always understood, like, hey, you got to go take care of this call or whatever the case may be. But what drives, I think, that mindset is just they become family. Those brothers and sisters that you're working with, you become family. Find a mentor. That is the base thing. That's one thing that I learned from the Rich Dad Poor Dad program is having a mentor is essential. It is key. You're going to learn from their experience. You're going to learn from their mistakes. They're also going to guide and advise you on what directions to take, what paths in education and things of that nature. And then also invest in yourself. That's the biggest thing. If you're wanting to make this a career, invest in yourself, find out about, what certifications you can get, what other teaching platforms or instructor proctor certifications can you get. I wish I had known that, honestly, probably at least 10 years ago. Had I known that I could have just applied myself to becoming a CPO instructor, and knew the route to take, or becoming an EPA proctor, knowing that route to take, I would have probably, I think, maybe advanced a little bit quicker and further. I just didn't know that path. And the only way you're going to know those paths is by picking people's brains. Don't be shy. Be that annoying little nephew that I was, asking why this, why that. You'll get those answers and you're going to learn. So, community colleges, we did a couple table sessions at some community colleges, and then also reaching out to the local high schools and letting them know what's out there. I think for us as an industry, though, we need to really take on to social media. And I think I've heard you say it time and time again, right? LinkedIn and getting into social media. Thing is that high schoolers are not jumping onto LinkedIn, right? They're getting onto TikTok. They're getting onto Instagram, getting on. Some of them, I know my kids will probably say, no, Dad, I don't jump on Facebook, right? I think I even watched on one of your ones you asked, how many of you guys have Facebook, right? Majority of the younger demographic probably didn't, right? But I think we need to capitalize on those areas and start reaching out to those that are on TikTok, to the Instagram, and then hopefully channeling them over maybe into LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn probably has a different demographic in areas of that. We're looking for those on-site level, those those ones that are just starting out and to get their attention in those areas. But again, we still are going to reach those. And I think as an industry as a whole, that's what we should capitalize on. I don't see it happening quite yet. Again, one thing that the Marine Corps would say, when you leave the wire and you're going into Fallujah, you're leaving your safe base or you're leaving that line, it should be a huge sign that would say complacency kills. Literally, it does, and it can when you get lazy or if you get comfortable and you think this is the 100th GFI that I replaced, and you think you know which one's the line and which one's the load, and because you're comfortable and you've been doing this for years, you decide to not grab that multimeter just to double check. You can put yourself and somebody else in another situation that you don't want to be in. So, don't get comfortable and just continue to learn and grow.